Hello, Jeff. Today we're talking about Sinners. It's a long discussion of Sinners. I'm joined with Chico again.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Uh,
Hey,
so,
again, I did want to say I did see your other Sinners yesterday review the trailer review you did,
uh,
and a lot of the things you were saying is a lot of the things that a lot of takeaways I got from it. So I was like, yeah, Justin, look at you putting the music together. I was like, yeah,
yeah, mother effer. You know what? I do my
you know
job.
music a little bit, yeah.
I don't
Hey,
do well. I know. Well, my grandparents they loved
yeah,
blues
blues,
music, and they helped
yeah.
organize the blues festival here in Hot Springs. So.
Oh, so you been to the blues festival?
Yeah, I haven't been to
Wow.
it in however a long time, but I think
Hey,
they
your
still do it.
volume's kind of like low. I can like not really hear you.
Oh, you mother effer! Well, hold on.
I mean, I can hear you, but it's just like low. Let me see if I turn my volume
No,
up.
wait, don't do jack squat. Let me do this. How's
No,
that?
it's
Well,
good. Good. It's good now.
that's better.
Yeah, it's better. Way better.
All right. I tend to be loud, so it's probably gonna f me in the edit. But whatever, f you.
And also, yeah, that's another thing. I like how you did that with the vampire.
The green screen
With the
thing and the
finished trailer,
vampire.
yeah, I was like, hey, yeah. It was like it wasn't even called. I was like, oh, this is not. I see what you did there. I was like some good. I see you with the editing skills, man.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
I wish I had the patience for that. I wish I had the
Oh,
patience.
I don't have patience. I just do a little
That's
bit.
right. Yeah, like I could just the detail and effort you get into it. I'm like, yeah, see.
Yeah, I'm starting to like. Some of it's just starting to become effortless for me a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, that
What?
editing.
Oh no! Oh, you still there? Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here.
My effing TV just effing.
Yeah.
This whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, Sinners. I seen it. I saw it one. I still only seen it one time, but I've been watching a bunch of Ryan Coogler interviews.
Yeah.
To sort of or last week. Like I've just been thinking about this movie this entire week. I'm
Yeah,
sitting
like
on
I've
my
been
coffee.
putting that straight through my YouTube algorithm, like just nothing but a whole bunch of centers and interviews and analysis and all that.
Exactly. Yes. And oh my god. All right. Yeah. Good. And so like this effing movie, man. This movie has like that. All right. So all right. You might have heard about the Variety article that came out about like those. You haven't. So like. This movie was getting gaslit a little bit originally when it first came out for the first weekend. So it's a $90 million budget. Even so with marketing, typically they would do like, oh well, it needs double the budget. So that's like it would ideally need like $180 million to like do pretty good, whatever. To
Yeah,
like make all of its money back and then extra, right? So
yeah,
anyway, this effing Variety, they had posted an article that was like, Sinners opening weekend with $60 million. But it really needs like this
yeah.
much money to make money. Blah,
Yeah,
blah.
man. If you make it's because it's more than an opening weekend. If you make almost majority more than half of your budget was $90 million,
Mm-hmm.
then I think you're doing pretty great because you got next weekend because not everybody's gonna be able to see it. So yeah, they sometimes they just
Well, exactly. So like they're like, oh well, it should have made all of its budget back in one day. Is what basically was implying, which is not like. Well,
yeah,
not
right,
only is it not possible, and has not been possible for most
yeah,
movies the last couple years, but
yeah.
like it is. It's just obviously a little. It's just let's just call it a little weird,
Yeah.
potentially for racial reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, but before I forget, I wanted to say this, and I don't want to forget because I remember when you was talking about when you was doing the Sinners trailer review, how you was like, "This is Ryan Coogler's like just blank check movie,"
Mm-hmm.
and you was like, he just didn't know what to do, whatever. And I seen an interview, and he said like growing up, him and his friends used to always like they would have a scary movie marathon and like they would be like to see like a whole bunch of scary movies back to back to back to see who would be able to watch them all the longest. So and he said that made him a really big fan of scary movies. So that was I think that put a little bit of inspiration to Sinners.
Yes, and he also talked about other inspirations. So there's all right. So, uh, I love this other guy named Mike Flanagan. He's done a bunch of shows I love, like The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Blind Manor,
Yeah, I know
uh,
that name.
Midnight Mass.
I
And
think
so,
he from the Midnight Mass review or something like that, or
mm-hmm.
another name though. I've heard you say the name.
So Midnight Mass I don't want to spoil that thing, but it's very similar to this
Yeah.
movie
Ooh.
because both are
Yeah.
very much inspired by Stephen King's Salem's Lot,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which I have not watched
Vampires,
yet. But
religion, all that good stuff.
yes,
Yeah. History. Yeah.
so like, and that stinking thing is like, well, yeah, it's the whole thing. And Ryan Coogler has basically said there's multiple inspirations, obviously from Dusk Till Dawn, Salem's Lot. I saw some Lost Boys in there. There's like one shot when, like, basically after the vampire's first kill, where it sort of pans up into the moon and like crossfades and all this crazy junk. I was like, that's a Lost Boysy looking shot right there. Uh,
Yeah. Ryan Coogler was a lot of inspiration he drew into this movie.
and while, but also, so what's even cooler about this is like, people want to talk about. Maybe some people even want to try to use it as a way to knock on the movie. But I think it's even better because the fact that it is a majority person of color cast with mostly
Yeah.
black people as the leads, because all the vampires are white, obviously.
Yeah. But also, before I forget, also, did you hear what about Haley Steinfeld?
Yeah, it's actually true. She's actually
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Okay.
a
Yeah.
little bit black, just a
Yeah, I think it was
very
like
like a little bit.
her grandfather was black or something like that.
Yeah, and so like, and so it's funny when I first watched. Well, first I only watched it one time still, but when I watched it, I came out of it thinking, oh, she's like every white woman who just sort of like tries to find that hair of color in there. But I do forget there was at that time the whole like the one drop rule or whatever. Like if you were only like even if you were a drop of black in your like
Yeah.
you still were considered black and you didn't have
Yeah,
certain
like
rights.
everybody wants that pure, like America. Oh,
Hmm.
America and race and money, everything. Like in America, you have to be. They want like purebred white, like no black, and it's like everybody want to be a nigga till it's time to be a nigga, and that's a song lyric. But yeah, see, yeah. So I get that, yeah, because if you wasn't a pure, they would do the test of like blonde hair, blue eyes, or whatever, something like that.
So that's another. So I was listening to this other podcast. I might try to find like go through my watch history and put some links in the description. That's more extra work for me, but I should do that. But there's this other podcast that was talking about like Irish people were literally
Yeah,
granted, but they were granted whiteness like legally, like they're like uh to get them to help fight for the union or whatever. They were like,
yeah,
hey, if you do this, you'll have all the rights that normal white men have. Because before, they genuinely were not considered white at all. Like, at
yeah.
all. And they were slaves. Literal
Yeah,
slaves.
exactly. Like they were like the lowest of the low social class. Like remember I told you, I don't know if you remember, like black and Irish people. I think we have some type of
I think
you could say soul ties, but it's like we're
I consider it
yeah,
similar to black and Latino people also. Because it's like, there is
yeah,
kinship there, but there is also still some racism there.
yeah.
Like, some, like, what's the word? Resentment in a way, for some
It just
reason.
goes because everybody's trying to be white because that's the way best to be accepted
Exactly.
in American society, man. Everybody, that's why they like marrying and the whole thing to like I
Marion
think
Stack?
to just get that lighter skin complexion and stuff
Oh.
like that. That's why a lot of Latinos marry. Never mind.
So, no, but here's the thing about. So, let's talk about Smoke and Stack really fast. Or,
Yeah,
let's just get into Smoke and Stack. Because I think they are obviously like. They're almost like the devil and angel on the sides of Sammy's shoulder in the movie. And
yeah, yeah,
strangely, Smoke is like the he's kind of the angel. Granted, he's like the most violent and will kill anybody for nothing, almost.
yeah.
Uh, but he's basically like he doesn't want to deal with any of it. He doesn't want to deal with the white people's rules. He doesn't want to have to like. He doesn't even like having to take in actual money or the fact that they are working with the money the way they are, where they are. But Stack is just like, hey, we can take their thing and make it our own. And the problem is, it's just like ultimately, I don't know if that necessarily works out for Stack at the end, but yeah, uh,
What do you think of that backstory?
like the whole like they went to Chicago, they're
And
like
they were soldiers before that. and they fought in
Yeah.
the war. I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty cool. And then it just yeah, they was like it was a good line. It was like they Mississippi Chicago is Mississippi, but just with what is it
Buildings,
called? Big old
skyscrapers.
buildings and stuff. So the reason why they came back to Mississippi is because they was like they'd rather
Deal with the devil
know
they know.
struggle, know the struggle that like live in the struggle they know versus the struggle that they in the city life, which is supposedly supposed to be better.
Well,
And
that's the thing. So like Stack specifically says that, and
yeah,
and so like, and I think that's what vampirism sort of represents in this sense. It's like trying to beat their game by doing what they do.
yeah, exactly.
And so like when Stack and Stack and Remick, the vampire, the main vampire,
Yeah,
they both sort of like, hey, look, we can beat them at their own game,
yeah,
and that sort of leads to their downfall in a sense.
yeah. And the thing is, and also they're vampires, so I don't really know how much you can trust the vampire, but I do. The Remick does have like a even though he was a vampire, he does have a. I seen a lot on Twitter, like maybe Remick was a bad guy, but he also was slightly true about some things. I was like, yeah, because I think he was also like Remick was bringing back Irish and stuff in with the Scotland and Ireland because like because I remember I learned they said Scotland was like those were like the supreme even though Ireland and Scotland are like not too far away like Scotland was like the more high thought of white people way back then from what I've heard and like Irish people like they're slaves peasants similar to black people was back in the day picking cotton etc etc.
Have you seen the Banshees of Inisherin?
No, I haven't.
I think we watched it, maybe. Had Colin Farrell in it. He's Irish, he's a prick a lot.
No, we watched something. I don't think
Man,
so.
that
Maybe
sinking movie.
watched it and I wasn't there.
Well, that's a fun movie that if you want to learn a little bit more about like the Irish Civil War, because that thing's gone on for so long.
Yeah.
And that movie takes place in like the 1800s. And
Yeah.
that was because of religion, because of Catholicism, and
Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
So-
Catholic, yeah.
that was. That's why I love like
history.
this movie is basically making a large argument about like religion versus art and like the effects of both, and also like I like one aspect I think about is about Sammy, his guitar powers and like his
Oh yeah.
mystical, like he's so good. He's like
Yeah.
the ghosts want to listen. All
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that music scene, boy, that the hairs on my arms stood up.
I literally said, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
Just-
I seen it in IMAX. I was like, oh my gosh.
They're gonna redo. They're re-releasing it in IMAX after Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is getting 2 weeks in IMAX, and then as soon as that's done, Sinners is coming back.
Oh wow! So that's how you know that it's really making noise because like, people gonna want it, and before it gets to the,
Well, that's
it's gonna be a big war to go to whichever streaming service it is, and so yeah.
well, the movie's already made $207 million. It's made.
Gee.
It's made its budget. It's made the marketing. Everything else is absolute
Yeah.
gravy.
Yeah.
And Ryan Coogler he gets to keep that after a certain, like, he gets a good chunk of it right now, but he's going to get to keep the rights in 25 years
Oh yeah.
to all of that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Sammy, his skills are so good that it's like, and I think it's obviously an interesting idea about like, even though like Remick is a vampire and he's Irish, he's sort of like, what I like about this is what I often say about vampire movies is they are best represented if they deal with both sexuality and capitalism, or not capitalism. Is it capitalism? Maybe capitalism. Something about money. So like,
yeah. America, capitalism, money, yeah.
and so like, this movie does both, and with very different, interesting ways. So like, think about Mary and Stack and what it takes for them to have to even be allowed to be together. Because that is one thing that Stack gets when taking on this vampire curse is they are allowed to make it through and like be together. Whereas
oh yeah, and
that
his brother,
probably
and his brother, he lost it because he had his girl. They had a kid,
Mm,
but the kid died before they was able to give birth to her and all that. And that was another powerful scene I liked.
yeah, and they got
And I
the
get the names confused. Stack is
stack
the one
is
who died, right?
stack is red, smoke is
Yeah.
blue. That's what I
Okay.
do in my head.
Yep. So Stack is the one who died, but he turned the one who turned vampire.
Yeah. Uh,
Yep.
and also I think there isn't something interesting about like. So they made a point of like if you become a vampire, you stay a vampire. If you kill the alpha vampire, it doesn't change anything. The
Yep.
other vampires are still vampires, but like Remick was controlling those vampires just because he could, and I do think there is something to that. Like it looks like Stack and Mary, even though they're vampires in the end credit scene, like they still are like of their own will.
Yeah. They can still do their own. I think it's just like if, but since Remick died at the end,
He
I
doesn't
think
have
that
that
maybe they
power.
lost all their powers. He lost. Yeah.
He
So
doesn't have the control over them. But I do wonder, like,
I
well, what
think
does that mean?
he evaporated into the sun. So I think when vampires turn to the sun, I don't think there's no coming back for that.
No,
I don't know.
no. There's no coming back from that because
So I
this is
think
very strict to the rules.
now they're just probably just the more power, the most. It's like the food. Whoever dies, the next person rise up, and they was like one of the first few bitten, and all the other vampires.
No.
They all, oh yeah, all the other ones they disappeared too. Like when they was in the water and the sun came up. I guess just stacking. They just got away out of the sun. That's how they survived to the next all these years later.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite scenes was I think his name is Daryl Orlando. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. When they picked him up from the train station and they was driving past the cotton fields and stuff, and he was telling stories to Preacher Boy and all them about like his past time in prison and stuff, what happened and how he got arrested, and how his friend got arrested, and then he just when he thinking about it and seeing people in the I guess prisoners picking cotton in the plantation, where he just told them to keep their head up and whatever. But it was just all like that's when I was like, man, that's why they call it blues because it's really like they're just a lot of the greatest, like a lot of artists' greatest music comes from pain. That's what like makes it so good, and like that's another reason why it makes blues so good because they're just talking about they put a lot of their pain to like music, like the have you ever heard this Kanye song Blood on the Leaves, Kanye West?
No.
Well, that song that came out way ago, way before Kanye was doing crazy stuff.
I
But
know, but still, I
that
still
song
have.
was sampled from I think her name was Nina L. Simone. It was like they call it strange fruit because it was like the deeper meaning was black people get lynched in slavery days.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I was like, so that's what, and it just made me think with like blues, and he started playing this harmonica, and I was like, man, this shit was
But
powerful.
that's another interesting thing. So Delroy, his character at first, he was like, "Hey, look, I don't want to go. I don't make me do this." And then like they either like, well, first of all, they offer him beer,
Beer, yeah, the beer is what got me.
but also didn't they play like a little bit of music again,
Yeah,
like, and he's like, "Oh well, I guess I'm coming in." Like, it's like, "Oh, I tried to get out, and he just brought me back in." Uh,
yeah,
and
beer. They get offered him beer, a little bit more money, and the chance. It was another thing, but yeah, it was like we got you. I think
and
it was just the more money is what got him because he's had the constant gig, but give him a little bit more money in the beer. So I think I really got him.
yeah, I guess. But then, so yeah, he talks about that story and whatever, and he has that little moan and whatever. But the part that really I didn't like, it actually like cemented in my brain. Like he did the moan, like the It was like it was my equivalent of that. It was like but it was like and whatever. And then he just repeated it, and then like it became like a little song, and that was like that was an interesting idea of like it's almost like he made sure to like make it into something in that moment. I don't know. It's just like it just never occurred to me this idea of like those those sort of groans and moans in different blues music
Yeah,
as
like
being like they're almost like codes of sorrow. Well, like you
yeah,
were saying, but like
yeah, because like remember they also said that they killed him. They hung. He got lynched and they cut off his manhood and
mm,
a lot of that, like I said, a lot of that you can feel it in the music. That's what just makes it so good. Because another thing, a lot of what I've realized for a while, like a lot of reason why I love art and media. Well, art and media like music, movies. Is a lot of the times it's their point of view, and a lot of it's not always public commentary what's happening in the world, and for him to go back on that, and yeah, that's why I was like, man, he's talking about some real shit, man.
Man.
History.
So
I'm
that's
always
why
interested in history.
that's what I love most about this movie. So like when you're in Ryan Coogler's position, when you've made so many studio movies in a row, and it's about time for you to have your blank check, he could have had a movie that was way less symbolic. Like he could have had an
Yeah,
easier time. He could
yeah.
have done something a little more chill. He could have done something like, just something to stretch his
Poppy looks
legs.
appeal to everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, like especially if it was me, if I had just like, yeah, I want to do a blank check movie, but I also would like to guarantee I have more blank check movies. So like, I
yeah.
would still do something, kind of safe, even though I was trying something different.
I wonder how the pitch meetings went to film this movie.
Oh, I think he definitely hid. He hid. He didn't say everything.
You don't think so? I think he might.
No.
Cause maybe if I was like, hey,
But so like, well, that's the thing.
I
Everybody.
got an impressive resume. I have an impressive resume.
Well, that alone, like I said, like that alone, I think he literally had to say, "Hey, what if me and Michael B. Jordan did a vampire movie?" And that's enough for
Yeah,
me to say, "Here's
like
money."
then you throw Michael B. Jordan. Whoever's investing, they're gonna be like, because they know Michael B. Jordan does great movies. They know when you and Michael B. Jordan together, y'all gonna do great movies. And
He probably didn't have to say
Michael
much,
Jordan,
really.
well, he was in the last Black Panther.
He's in all. He's in all of his movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like,
So him and Michael B. Jordan is going to be guaranteed success.
exactly.
I was like, hey, I'm gonna be saying some. Well, maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't.
It's not a hard sell. Like he doesn't have to tell. He didn't.
Yeah,
And plus, it's not like the craziest budget, like 90 to 100 million
yeah.
for
I
Ryan
think I
Coogler.
seen you said Black Panther got $250
Exactly.
but that's understandable because that's like it wasn't like the setting wasn't. It was like in the present day, not back in the 1920s, and Wakanda's like even more of. Yeah, I get it, but yes, 90 million for that time. That's a great budget.
90 million, like 90 million is like
That's a lot of money. Jesus Christ.
it is a lot, but it's not like for like a lot of like smaller like there are smaller movies now that I often would probably go see that are probably around the 40 to 50 million range. 90 million it is more, but it's not like I mean you got I mean it's a he stretched that 90 million still. Like I can still
Bro,
kind of see how it's
yeah.
still stretched.
Imagine just seeing 90 million just kapow.
It sounds like a
I don't think I've ever seen the most I've seen. It was GTA money, and that's.
I think
just imagine.
I think I've seen $10,000 in cash once.
Yeah,
But that's it.
That's probably like I've never got to the hundreds of thousands or higher.
Yeah. But but it's really not that much if you think because like if you think about it as
Yeah, he got a lot of character. Everybody got to get paid.
yeah, every single person on screen is getting paid. That's not accounting for every person behind the screen.
Yep.
Or even just the sort of day, like just the people helping out for the day or whatever, all that jazz. So
Everybody who helped make the movie.
so even still, like when I say he stretched that budget, it is apparent that he's stretching that budget. And it's pretty good, pretty good. Let's see what else here. There's what else? What I want to talk about? Oh, so I want to also talk about really fast because I don't know how long this has been going on. I don't know how much longer we probably
about 20 minutes.
probably about yeah. So like, I want to talk about the ending a little bit because so there are a lot of comparisons to From Dusk Till Dawn. That like, have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn? Have I shown you that movie? Oh, dude, it's really good. You should watch that. It's Robert Rodriguez. And it's fun.
Yeah, you should also watch American Satan.
Shut the heck up! Shut the heck up! This is related. This is related directly.
True.
God dang it! So anyway, From Dusk Till Dawn, the whole thing about it is the first half of the movie, and it also follows two brothers, ironically. But first half of the movie, it's like these two brothers on the run. They run into a family and they hold them hostage, and they sort of like it's like a road trip movie with these two criminals and his family.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe we did see that, man. Or maybe I've seen it before. Or maybe I've seen the
You might
trailer or
have seen
something
some
like
of it.
that.
Then they stop at this stripper club bar, and lo and behold, it's full of vampires, and then it becomes a vampire movie. And this is similar in structure in that this first half of the movie, it's more of like a sort of like a bluegrassy drama, musical drama, getting the band together for this project.
Yeah.
Because they just sort of like go to each person being like, "Hey, we got this thing going on. We want you in on this." And then they get there, the crazy cool scene happens. But so like, I want to talk a little bit more about the vampire. Just a little like first of all, when he first was coming in and he had those two other people and they were playing like the three guitars or whatever, you could see in the acting how he was like puppeting the other two behind him when they were doing the guitars, and he's like playing that stupid like stupid Irish. I don't even know if it was an Irish song. It's just a stupid song.
Yeah, dude had a banjo. Yeah, because his music, the music Remy was playing, yeah, it was kind of. I was kind of
Well,
tapping my feet.
exactly, and Stack also, but
Yeah,
also, oh, but I also wonder if that's like since Remick maybe could have seen that Stack was semi convinced that he knew he had like a toe in the door, because Stack
yeah,
then Mary talked to Stack and then Mary went outside.
yeah. Because the reason the only reason they did it because they needed the money to make up for everything they paid for, I guess. But I feel like they could have did that if they would have lasted more than a day. But then again, after the first guy, and
No,
even the vampires, the KKK came and shooted it, so it wasn't even gonna make a another
yeah,
day. They just gave them that one night to I guess get it all what they got back. Cause yeah,
yeah, they were probably just gonna sink and be like, oh well, great, we'll just have them all be here. Because there's a slaughterhouse before or something like that. Before
yeah,
that,
yeah,
uh, which is also interesting too, though. Like it is interesting. Like, oh fudge! All right, we're gonna be really fast. But it's interesting how like they buy this place. It's a slaughterhouse. And it's like in a way that makes me think, oh, it's kind of haunted already. In a way,
yeah.
if you think about it
For the
like that.
animals.
Uh, well, not just
Oh
animals,
yeah,
Chico.
slaughterhouse in general. Yeah, that's the name. You know,
No, the stinking. They bought it from the Klansmen, and
yeah,
they were
yeah,
like, "You need to
facts.
clean off the blood." I think
Yeah,
they thinking we're killing black
yeah,
people in
probably black
general
people.
already. I think they were
Yeah,
killing, and I think the Klansman was just like, "Oh well, great, they'll all just be here. We can just have them to
yep,
be here." Uh,
yep. Yep, kill them all. And that's what they came to the next day. I guess they gave him that one night. And I was like, yeah, they didn't think the party would end as early as it did, so it was like we'll catch him really stumbling drunk the next morning.
mm-hmm.
They came because he was after he killed all the vampires. He knew the other dude was coming because I guess through the subtle foreshadowing throughout the movie, I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, because Remick said those guys are gonna come back. I thought he was just saying
Oh
that.
yeah,
I thought he was just
yeah,
saying
fact.
that,
Well,
but
yeah, I don't remember that part, but yeah, it makes sense now.
But what I actually kind of like about that is like, well, one, he probably killed a clan. Yeah, they did kill one guy. I think one Klansman earlier. I think, and so he could see his memories, and he's like, they're just gonna come over here and tomorrow and kill you.
Oh
So,
yeah,
but again, still like he's a vampire. You don't necessarily know if you believe him still.
yeah. If they're telling the truth, they
But
kill because
since it's the 1930s, I bet Smoke and Stack would have been like, oh yeah, they probably already had an itch that was going to happen because they had that trunk full of guns anyway.
yeah. They was already prepared. Because you remember how at the end when Preacher Boy was running away and smoking, they're stacking. It's Smoke, right?
Smoke is a human. Smoke is human.
Yeah, Smoke and Stack they were fighting and like right before Smoke was finna kill Stack, he had like and then he waited a minute and then it pans to the other scene of Sammy trying to get away and with his scene with Remick trying to run away from him. And so I think at that point, because you remember he let him live, so at that point he just like that's another reason how him and Haley Steinfeld was able to get away. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's all I was saying.
But thinking, what I love about this, and this is what makes it different from Dusk Till Dawn, is the whole idea of with From Dusk Till Dawn, is a team of white people and one Asian kid, but unfortunately the Asian kid dies.
Oh,
But in that movie, team of white people, they kill the vampires, they go about their day after the vampires are dead. This movie, team of black people, kill the vampires, oh, there's still the KKK, gosh darn it, to deal with at the end of the
yep.
day. Which I love that aspect, because I legit forgot about the KKK. And then when they came back, I was like, oh yeah, the effing KKK, oh man.
Yeah, because I was just like, because remember at first he was like, when they first paid for it, it's like, they better not see none of your clans folks ever back past across our property lines. He was like, dude was like, yeah, the clan don't exist no more. I was like, that's cap. But anyway, it was like,
Immediately I was
got
like,
some
yeah.
type of paperwork, and even because now even you purchase something, you got to get like paperwork too, and say that's in your name. But that's just what I was thinking for. Like, damn, that's a. Even though they probably wouldn't have been from way back then, wouldn't hurt to ask. But yeah, because they shut it down. The K was gonna come back.
Now I do want to do really fast, really quick. We're going to talk about something that's, and we're going to have to. All right, but really fast. What is interesting is some of the on movie YouTube spaces, the white reviewers that would typically scream woke or be
Yeah,
like, oh, this is too just scream woke. They like this movie too.
yeah. I think it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, if I'm not
It's still in
mistaken.
the 90s. It's high
Oh,
90s. It got
yeah.
went down a
At first
little
they said it was 100 for a good minute, or
for a
maybe
good minute.
50.
Yeah.
So
It's at 98 still.
wow.
So like,
Rotten Tomatoes, man, you don't get. Yeah, I rarely. It's like 60s and 75 most movies, but yeah,
but I do think it just showed like even though I don't necessarily prescribe to the whole idea of like things being woke or whatever, I do think there is an idea of you can do it so subtly by just being authentic to the
yeah,
perspective. Like
yeah,
it's a 1930s vampire movie. Nobody's screaming about it being woke because it's like, well, if you're a black person in the 1930s, it's going to be
yeah,
like this, you
yeah,
know, regardless of the vampires, whatever.
yeah.
So it's like
Because even after slavery was outlawed, people in the South still did it because they needed the money for picking cotton.
exact, and also we don't have like when I think of all the vampire movies in my head, I'm trying to think of black vampire movies.
Yeah,
Maybe one Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy, and then that's
the only black vampire movie I knew before this was Blade.
oh, and Blade, and that's it.
Yeah,
So I did so like, and I think and it being the 1930s, that is a juicy time period. Also, just for
fact.
the vibes, like think of Oh Brother Where Art Thou. So and I think this has some of that inspiration in some ways too, like a musical in the 1930s.
Yeah,
So,
and it was just some time period. There was a war that just ended or something like that. So you got that probably a few years before. So yeah. Anytime I find any time period in the significant histories, like I always find that students like the clothes they wear,
mhm.
yeah, everything, how it was. So yeah, I
And
like it.
just the idea of like 1930s and vampires. I like it's not something you just it's just so unique. It's just so wholly unique while also being inspired by a bunch of things, and it's just new. It's new. This is some new stuff, man. I watched a little video of Spike Lee talking about Ryan Coogler asking him if he wanted to see a screening of it like long before it was coming out, and Spike
Yeah,
Lee he was like, I thought I was sitting courtside when I was watching it. Like Spike Lee
yeah.
said that. Spike
Yeah, because he gave it.
Lee.
I seen when he was on one of those morning talk shows. He said he gave it to Snoop Dogg, Spike Lee, I think Denzel, maybe, and a few. It was a few other,
Probably
fa-
Denzel for sure, because Denzel's in Black Panther 3.
few other big black actors or people in the film industry and celebrities like that. And him being from, he's from not Oakland, Ryan Coogler, and Snoop being from West Coast too. So yeah,
Pretty crazy.
staying true to his authentic self.
And really, 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 really fast, did you see Ryan Coogler do that Kodak thing where he was on Kodak, is the camera YouTube channel. He's describing all the different formats to go see the movie.
Oh no, I haven't.
I
I gotta
sent a
check
link
that
to
out.
that. So many people have watched that video, and I was so surprised that like a lot of people watch that video. And it's just Ryan Coogler sort of breaking down different aspect ratios for 12 minutes. And like it's something I would obviously be interested in, but the fact that like Ryan Coogler's doing it, I think got a lot of people into it because he talks very authentically to the Oakland areas,
Yeah, yeah, facts.
and I think that like I don't know something about that got people to watch this nerdy junk more than if I were to do it. Maybe I guess not maybe I'm gonna cut that out, but whatever. But
It was a good movie though. I liked it. I liked it. It was the music scene is. I think I'm gonna go see it again in IMAX hopefully.
I don't if they do put if they put
Monday or Tuesday when it's on discount. I might do it Tuesday when it's discount.
right if they put an IMAX in town again after Thunderbolts is done, I might try to go see it in IMAX. I might try to do it.
There's also some other movies I want to see. Thunderbolts for one.
Thunderbolts is getting hyped up like crazy.
But I feel like I'm just gonna severely underwhelm. I feel like they gave most of the good parts away in the trailer.
I don't know. I think some people are calling it like the new Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm hyped. And it's from the makers of The Bear and Beef.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, both of them. So you want to see it.
Interesting.